It's not showing me we're live.
Well, it'll be a second.
Okay.
Do this.
There it is, right there. I got the message and everything. Don't forget to change top chat
Oh my God.
to live chat. Hey, you have to see all the comments.
I see them all.
Not if no, there's some comments that'll sneak through if you don't have it on live chat.
Oh boy.
S&P breaking news right now. The United States economy contracted in the first quarter.
Oh, shut up, Aaron Parnas.
That's not nice.
What? What?
Hi. Hello, everyone.
What page am I on? Oh my God.
What are you on?
I don't know.
Oh my God. I should mute. Hold on.
Okay. Whoo! I've been summoned. You've been summoned? Hi, Wisconsin Wish. How are you? Hi, Liz. Everyone, welcome to the live. Streaming on YouTube and TikTok as usual. Please like the live and share or whatever it is you do. Whatever you do, do that.
I
Hi,
just
Jeremy.
put it in the chat.
Huh?
I just put it in the chat too.
Hi, Andrea. Chris Mack. How are you? Christine.
I am liking and sharing right now.
Yeah, the notification worked because I only did a couple of videos this morning, so I still had a notification in the chamber, so to speak. I am making sourdough pizza today. That sounds good. Hi, Stefan.
Huh.
Jules, how are you? Sarcastic sister. Um, Thank you. Thank you for the gifts, Liz. My goal on TikTok is the corn. The corn. You want to get started,
Of
Jill?
course.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I am. Thank you, Brian. I am doing very well.
In the Ozarks, waiting for the storms. I love the Ozarks. It's a beautiful place. I was born in the Ozarks, okay? I'm a product of hillbillies, if you folks didn't know this. And I think Jill is too. I don't know for sure, but I think she is.
My God.
We had a lot of storms last night. My backyard's underwater, but the chickens are okay. The chickens can survive Mother Nature. They just can't survive Wilson, is what I've determined.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Liz. Welcome. Thank you for coming over here to YouTube.
And Brian, I hope you're doing well as well.
Hi, Eggy. How are you? Well, we finally got those GDP numbers out today that we've been waiting for, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe. A lot of scary
Right?
numbers, a lot of scary forecasts came out. We did end up with a contraction. It just wasn't as bad as the Atlanta Fed said it could be. And it was much worse than the New York Fed said it would be. The New York Fed had good growth numbers. The Atlanta Fed had us in a major contraction. We ended up at negative 0.3%. And suddenly the pain and suffering that we were all going to have to endure because of Donald Trump's brilliant economic genius, suddenly it's all Joe Biden's fault, and it has nothing to do with anything Donald Trump did.
Yes. Yes, he made sure he put that on Truth Social.
So they told us every day we're going to have to go through some pain. And then as soon as some pain hits, it's, oh, that's a Joe Biden thing. Hello,
Yes.
Danny from Nova Scotia. How are you? Yeah. Peter Navarro came out today and said these were great GDP numbers. Of course, anytime your economy contracts, it's fantastic. He said if it wasn't for the tariffs, we would have had 3% growth. The problem is the tariffs didn't begin in the first quarter. The tariffs didn't begin until April the 2nd.
Right.
And the first quarter was over at the end of March. So, I don't know what Navarro's talking about other than he's a psychopath, just like Donald Trump. So, yeah, the tariffs have no impact on the first quarter number other than the talk of the tariffs. But the actual tariffs being in place, we won't see that till we get the second quarter numbers. And if we're seeing contraction from just talk of tariffs, I wonder what we'll see with 100 and whatever percent tariffs all over the board. So, fantastic. The Dow Jones is down, I think it was about 200 points. Oil, way down. Oil about to go under $58. Somehow, gas prices are still rising.
Wow.
We're in Lululand.
We sure are.
Oil is $58 and gas is higher than it was when oil was $68. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening with gas prices. I have no idea.
That is, that's not good. If you don't know what's happening, I sure the hell don't.
Well, the only thing it can be is people are keeping their prices high because nobody's buying anything in the store. That's all it can be. Nothing else makes any sense. Okay.
Right. They're going to make money off of their gas.
And let me pull
if they can't make it.
Let me pull up this number. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. The wholesale is 204. The national average is 318. That means, okay, let's take the state of Oklahoma. Wholesale 204. Add the state tax, add the federal tax. That gets you up to 224. That gets you up to about 235, 236. Okay, so the wholesale price plus taxes in my state get us to 236. The average in my state is 270. So, that's 24 cents profit per gallon. That's a little higher than normal. Most places don't make a quarter profit on every gallon of gas they sell. Some do, but for an average, it's not typically that high. So the averages are higher than the wholesale price would lead you to believe. Gas went up at my gas station this morning. It went up 7 cents. Let me look on the Oklahoma average to make sure I got that average right, because I may not. Because that was an average that we had a few days ago. Let's see if it's gone up. Holy cow. Yes, it has gone up. Okay. The average in Oklahoma is 280, not 270. It was 270 a week ago.
Wow.
Okay,
it's 362 here.
Yeah, it's 279, right? So that's 34 cent markup on average at the gas station, which is not normal. When you look at the average across the strait, yeah, you'll see a 30% profit or a 30 cent profit at gas stations in touristy areas, people that live in upper class or upper middle class neighborhoods, you'll see 30% or 30-cent profits at those stations. You won't see them at the average gas station around this state. Normally it's 15, 20 cents. So they're banking 30 cents right now because Mr. Global's the only one left buying sausage biscuits in the morning, apparently.
Apparently.
I have noticed at my local convenience store, if you don't get there by 9:30 in the morning, all the breakfast stuff is gone. So they have this big warmer thing full of breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, different kinds of biscuits.
I gotta see what she's barking at.
Normally, if you're not there by 9 or 9:30 in the morning, all that stuff's gone. I went in there yesterday at 11:30, and all the breakfast stuff was still there. People are not spending money. So, they're keeping the gas prices high because they're selling a lot less in the store.
And that makes complete sense. They're going to make their money on the gas if they can't make it inside the store.
Is there a reason I can't save your videos anymore as I like to upload to Facebook? Yes, there is. I turned that off because the scammers were out of control. And
he was making it so it's harder for the scammers to get it. They can still do it, but it's harder.
Yeah.
Sorry. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Well, just so people understand, the scammers, they're not just stealing your content, they're stealing money from you.
Yes.
By stealing your content. And I turned all of that off as kind of a test run, because sometimes I turn it off, sometimes I turn it back on. I kind of go back and forth. I turned it off this month and my revenue's up about 20% because they're stealing money from you is what they're doing. So you can still share it to Facebook without downloading it, right, Jill?
Not through TikTok, but through YouTube you can. Well, you can share it through TikTok, but if somebody doesn't have TikTok, then they won't be able to see it.
You could go to YouTube and share the YouTube link on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm. That's how I do it.
The way I would recommend you do it. But I think a ton of people did that this month. I know Hawk did it as well. Because they're stealing money from us.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah.
But YouTube to Facebook works the best. And it's also the best for us because you're sharing our YouTube content, which is what we really want people to be watching.
Yeah, and that's how I do it. If I watch his videos on TikTok and I know he's going to have it on YouTube, so I'll watch it, like it, share it, and then head over to YouTube and rewatch it, like it, and share it. And I share that that's how I share to Facebook.
Yeah. So Lenman 405 asked, don't convenience stores only get pennies on the dollar for gas? Historically, yes, right? Historically, yes. Probably 10 cents would be a good average number historically. But right now, they're getting about 30 cents. And the reason they're doing that is because their inside sales in their stores has dropped so dramatically that they're keeping their gas prices higher to make up for the loss in revenue. It's just another reason why manipulating a market doesn't work.
Right.
If the economy was healthy, people would be spending money in the store and the gas prices would be cheaper and it would be fine. But when you artificially lower commodities, and harm the economy in the process to make one thing cheaper, what you end up doing is people aren't spending money. They're not going into the stores anymore, so they're keeping their gas prices higher.
And I really don't blame them.
I don't
That's how
blame
they
them
make
either.
it money.
I don't blame them either. And they're still not high. I mean, to me, I don't think they're high. But they would be much cheaper in a healthier economy. Right? They would.
Yes.
All of this would be working if the economy wasn't beaten up so bad.
So back in January, at the end of January, Trump made a Truth Social saying that the stock market was his right now, right? Because they knew he was going to win. So they are his stock markets, not Biden's, because, blah, blah, blah. Then today he made a post saying this is Biden's stock market, not Trump's, blah, blah, blah. I didn't take over until January 20th and all that crap, right? So I suggest everybody go look up what doublethink means. Yeah. Yeah, go look up what doublethink means in the dictionary. That is exactly him.
Right. And just to further clarify, Jill, the post in January was January 2024.
Right.
Over a year ago. Yeah.
Over a year ago.
It wasn't this January.
It wasn't. I meant to say that.
I know you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't come out. But yes, that was January 2024 when he made that. And he was saying it belonged to him, all that stuff, because they knew he was going to win. And now he's saying that it's not his. So doublethink. Go look it up. Go look up doublethink.
Doublethink. Chris wants to know where to find the wholesale prices of gas. Go to your browser and just type in RBOB, and it'll pull up probably a half a dozen websites. Pick one of those, and it'll show you a graph. They don't call it the wholesale price of gas, but that's basically what it is, right? It's reformulated blend stock is what they call it, because that's basically what wholesale gas is. But go look it up, RBOB. Just put RBOB is all you put in, and a bunch of websites will come up. Pick one. They'll all say the same thing. I forgot what I was going to say after that. Where was I? Oh, the interview. The interview. What is wrong with Terry? Is that his name? Terry Moran?
Is
the interviewer?
Which interview? Oh, for Trump, that interviewed Trump. I don't know if that's his name or not.
It's something Moran.
Yeah.
It should be Moron.
Oh my God.
I'm a little upset with Mr. Moron today. Listen, when the President of the United States is saying something as unbelievably stupid as the picture of the hand wasn't photoshopped, when they literally just placed MS-13 on there so people would know what the symbols below mean. Nobody is disagreeing that wasn't placed on there as a label to show people what the symbols mean. One of the numbers isn't even completely on the hand. It's like hanging off the side of the finger, right? So when Donald Trump is pressing and arguing that is a real tattoo, and when he says, I have a picture, you don't say no, you say yes. Let's look at the picture, Mr. President, and you bury his ass right there on national TV instead of being a giant pussy media person.
Yes.
Because you want this, he knew that if he buried him on that, the interview would be over. which, by the way, is another win for you, Mr. Moran.
And it is Terry. It is Terry.
Terry.
So,
it's always some guy named Terry. You know what I mean? Come on.
Oh my God.
Sorry for anybody in here named Terry. But no, seriously. Call him out. Make him pull the picture out. If he's going to press something that ridiculous, and he looked really unbelievably stupid as it was, make him look as stupid as possible. If he's going to give you that rope, take it. Take it.
I completely agree with you. I think it's time that the media starts just taking him down with everything they can, because what he says makes no sense, and they can prove it, but they won't. They allow this to continue is what they're doing. They're allowing it to continue, and I agree with you.
I mean, the president insisted. The president insisted he get the picture. So, okay, Mr. President, if you insist, right? Since we disagree and you insist, let's take a look at the picture. And you can lead him down a path, right? Maybe we can figure this out together, Mr. President. Be nice to him.
Right.
At least in his mind, you're being nice to him. What he doesn't know is you are decimating him in front of the world.
Right. Now, me, on the other hand, I would be like, oh, you want to look stupid?
No, you got to play it. You got to play your cards, Jill. You got to play your cards. I was disappointed in that. I'll be honest with you.
As well. Am I still here? Can you hear me? Because I got lost.
Yeah, you're back. Quit talking to yourself.
I was too.
Yeah, you was. One of these days, I'm going to hit that button in the middle of you talking, and you're going to be saying something really funny. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be really funny because it won't be the whole thing.
Right. We'll just hear you yell the word fuck or something. And we're like, whoa. Anyway, what else is going on? I read a weird story today, and this isn't what you think it's going to be. So just hear me out, because when I read the headline, I thought, this is weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Gen Zers are raw dogging. This is what the headline said. Gen
Okay,
Zers.
I'm going to let you continue.
Okay, Gen Zers are raw dogging people as they return to work. So there was this whole story about Gen Zers. I think Gen Zers were one of the larger groups affected by return to work policies. So what they're doing is they're getting on trains, public transportation, right? Subways, trains, buses. And they have this whole thing that they're doing, and they're calling it raw dogging. Now, where I'm from, that's not what raw dogging is, just to be clear.
No, that's not what it is, right?
But they're staring at people with a dead look on their face the entire ride to express their protest for having to return to the office. And this is like an organized thing. So you get on the train, there's someone sitting across from you, and you just, with a dead look in your eyes, you just stare at them for the entire trip. Communicating non-verbally to them your dissatisfaction with going back to the office, apparently.
Oh.
Not something Gen X would do.
No. But we can, Gen X is one of them people that say things like two can play at that game, right?
Well, we communicate verbally.
We do. But I'm saying two can play that game, and meaning that we can play it our way.
Right. Well, a lot of them are like, look, they're identifying other Gen Zers and they're doing it to each other. If because look, if one of these people gets on a subway and there's a guy like me or a girl like Jill, right? And we're being stared at like that, that's not going to go well.
No.
It's going to be, what the fuck are you looking at? That's, and it's not going to take very long. How long do you think it would take you to ask somebody what they were looking at, Jill, if they were looking at you in that manner?
Pretty quick.
Yeah, less than 10 seconds. Maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Give them an opportunity to do something else to make sure. And then, what the fuck are you looking at?
Yeah, and that's exactly how it would be said too.
That is exactly how it would be. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing for a whole generation of people to do?
It absolutely.
Fucking weirdos.
Because it's not going to work. What's it going to do?
Yeah, exactly like Bruiser says, go raw dog your boss.
Right, exactly. Go raw dog your boss. That is exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They don't know what raw dogging is. That's the thing. And when I say that, like, go raw dog your boss.
Yeah.
It's not staring at him that I think of.
Exactly. It's not at all. These people don't know how to speak English.
He is, Bruiser. He does it to me too.
I didn't paraphrase. You said, go raw dog your boss. Right? Okay. Maybe I paraphrased a little bit.
A little bit, yes.
But that's basically what she said.
That's funny.
Yes, Jeremy. If you ask someone what they're looking at, and they said they were raw dogging you, it would be an odd interaction at that point.
It would be, wow. I'd be like, do you know what that is? like what the? I think we should teach them what that means.
I don't.
They're old enough to know what it means.
Kids say the darndest things. How old are Gen Z people? Are they the ones right below the millennials?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what's below that?
Alpha.
Alpha.
Gen
What
Alpha.
is the age range of Alpha? I'm trying to figure out what my kids are.
Your kid's an Alpha. Your son's your youngest, your 10-year-old.
My oldest ones are in their 20s. All in their 20s.
They are Gen Z.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
My son's in his 30s. He's a millennial.
I can say this. The alpha is definitely smarter than all of the non-alphas.
Yeah.
But I made him in a lab, so that helped. Custom made.
Custom made.
Yeah. He freaks out a little bit when I tell him he was made in the lab, but I'm sure he'll be fine.
So Generation Alpha is between 2010 and 2024.
No, yeah, he's definitely. So we just had the last year of Alpha, and the new ones coming in are going to be whatever's after Alpha.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to find out.
Is a centennial a thing? Isn't that a subsection? A centennial? Isn't that like a subgroup of another generation? I've heard the word centennial. Isaac, good question.
Wait, what was the question?
Centennials.
Centennials for what?
Centennials for Christ. What are you talking about? Centennials.
I don't know.
Like
I'm a little lost.
A generation called the Centennials.
Okay, you're still on generation.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's like a subsection of another generation. It's not a main generation. I think it's a subsection of Gen Z, or maybe a small generation between Gen Z and millennials, maybe.
I don't know.
Somebody
the next one is beta. The next one is beta.
Beta.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a whole generation of betas. That's
Alpha,
what we need.
beta. Yeah. Alpha, beta. Like they can, what are they coming up with here?
Yes, Bruiser, we know centennial is 100 years. But there's... we're talking about generations. Yes, I know it means celebrating 100 years, but I've heard people talk about this subsection or this sublet, like there are other subsections. What do they call them? The quiet generation or the silent
1990s. So the centennial generation, also known as Generation Z, refers to individuals born roughly between 1997 and 2012.
Okay. So that is a subgeneration because it's not long enough to be a generation.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like the silent generation.
They don't want to be called Gen Z. That's what the issue is. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Or the Jones generation. It's kind of like that.
Generation Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Who are those people?
They're right, like at the end of Boomers, before Gen X.
I thought that was the silent generation.
No, they refer to themselves as the Generation Jones.
Ah, okay.
The silent generation was before that, I believe. Before Boomers? Wasn't the silent generation before the Boomers?
I thought the generation before the Boomers was the greatest generation.
I don't remember. I don't remember that far back.
I'm not one of these.
Yeah, it was Jason. It was during the time of Jim Jones, but that's not where they got it.
I'm not one of these generation fanatics.
Okay, so someone said their mama's 1939 was the silent generation.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah.
28 to 45 was the silent. Oh, I was right.
Steve Buscemi in The Big Lebowski was in the silent generation. That's why they were telling him to shut the fuck up all the time. Exoplanet generation? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
There's a lot of generations.
Mr. Pink. Yes. Mr. Pink. I loved Mr. Pink.
Why don't I remember Mr. Pink?
Mr. Pink was Steve Buscemi's name in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Pink. He's the one that got away with all the money.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember now.
He got away with all the money.
You know how I am. You know how I am with them names. I am very good with names. Even Mr. Pink.
You can't miss me on a Quentin Tarantino film. Like, you cannot trip me up. I'm an expert on Quentin Tarantino films. Loved Mr. Pink.
knew exactly who it was once you said. I was just not putting it together.
Yeah, exactly. Why do I have to be Mr. Pink?
All right, what else is there? What?
I don't know. What else is there?
Anything new today in the news?
The state of Oklahoma, the state legislature in Oklahoma passed the education standards. That were fraudulently passed by the school board. You familiar with that story?
Yes, I think I am.
That means that moving forward, our kids will be taught that the Bible is a historical document in regards to the founding of our nation, and that the 2020 election was stolen. So that's what our kids are going to be taught in school now in Oklahoma.
Oh. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm in case somebody couldn't catch it.
I haven't heard anything today about. I did the video last night on the woman from Oklahoma City who was robbed at gunpoint by the federal government.
Yes.
And I got quite a few messages. Why are you saying it like that? You're saying it in a way that will make people angry. Yes, because that's exactly what happened. She was robbed at gunpoint by people who work for the federal government. They came into her house, they put a gun in her face, and they stole everything she owned. They ransacked her house, destroyed the inside of her house. I saw some pictures today. Cabinet doors ripped off the cabinets, doors broken. They destroyed the inside of her home. And they did all this after they verified, one, she was a U.S. citizen, two, her and nobody in that house was on the warrants. They still did all that afterwards.
And how do they expect you to say it otherwise? Like, do they think that you should be like Fox News and be like, no big deal? Like it's, so it was an accident, blah, 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 like Fox News would write it.
It's not an accident.
No, exactly. I'm just saying. Like, is that what they want you to do?
You could make that argument had they not known they had the wrong people the whole time.
Right.
You could make that argument. Except for the fact that the people were left there and were not detained or deported or, So that's what happened. They were robbed in their home by intruders who committed armed robbery, stole their money, stole their phones, their computers, all of their paperwork, whatever documents they had.
Right.
New residents to the state of Oklahoma have been here for 2 weeks and are probably wishing they had stayed their ass in Maryland.
They probably should have. That's a shame.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse from here, though.
Well, this is going... Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, this is going to result in somebody getting popped.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's going to keep getting worse from here, and things are going to get out of control. Somebody's going to... I'm not going to say it because they're going to go into the wrong house.
Yeah, they're going to go into someone's house and shots will be fired.
Yes.
and there will be multiple casualties.
Yes.
The people who are simply defending their home, which you are allowed to do in my state,
Yep.
as long as they don't even have to be in your house. In my state, you can take them out in the yard. Your front door is where your yard starts in my state.
Right. Right.
So we have some of the most pro home defense laws, right? It's just like Texas. It's stand your ground state. They can't even come in your yard. You can waste them if they come in your yard and you tell them they can't. You can waste them. And the fact that these officers didn't identify themselves when they came in the house.
Exactly.
So one of these events is going to occur and people are going to lose their lives. That's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And the people who reside in whatever home this happens in are automatically going to be guilty, even though they're not. Because the law states, stand your ground. I think in some states they call it the castle doctrine or something like that.
The cast. Yes, that's exactly what they call it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, in my state, that privilege is even extended to your vehicle. Your vehicle is your home. They did this to prevent carjackings. So someone could pop a cap in someone that was trying to carjack them. But this is going to, somebody's going to, maybe multiple somebodies are going to lose their lives eventually because of this.
And the stand your ground laws exist in how many states?
A lot. Even blue states. It's a very popular thing.
I think Pennsylvania is one of them as well.
And there's a lot of homes in Oklahoma that are just like mine. And what I mean is, no matter where you are in my house, you're not far away from a self-defense tool. You're not. You're not far away from one.
Right. People are saying 38 states.
My brother-in-law, who did 6 tours in the Middle East, who is a commissioned officer and, did a lot of sweep and clear type stuff in the Middle East during the wars, going in to buildings and clearing them out. Like, he's an expert in this kind of stuff. And I had him come to my house and basically give us a class on how to defend our home if someone comes in. So we know exactly what to do when someone comes in the house. We know where we're going to be. We know where the angles are. We know where the blind spots are. We know everything. So if you come in my house, you're going to be in a bind. Don't walk past any corners is all I can tell you. But this is going to happen. Are you back?
Yeah, it kicked me.
Kicked you again.
It was doing so well for a few days, and then all of a sudden back to being kicked.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to reboot my internet system at my house or something. Wonder if that would help.
I reboot mine all the time. I have full bars. I don't know if it would help. Maybe clear your cache on YouTube or on the app. On this app that we use for the background, that might be it too. Oh my God, I'm right. I'm right.
Clear your cache. I don't have no cache.
Just clear your cache and send it all to me.
I need to call the Oklahoma State Unemployment Office, Jill. So today, I got a letter. Well, it wasn't really a letter. It was a debit card from the Oklahoma State Unemployment Office.
That doesn't make any sense if you didn't apply.
I have not applied for unemployment.
You better call and make sure somebody didn't apply for you.
But they sent it to my house, right? So I need to call them. I need to find out what the fuck.
Yeah.
It was so I go to the post office and I get this very government official looking envelope. And anytime I get this, I'm like, fuck. Because I'm thinking it's probably the IRS.
Right.
You never want to get anything from the IRS. That's not a thing. You just don't, right?
No, you don't.
But it didn't say on the outside envelope. They want it to look conspicuous so people don't know what it is. But you can tell when it's from the government. You can tell.
Yep.
And it was from the Oklahoma. It was from the state of Oklahoma. And it had a debit card in it. I did call the number that they gave me, and there's no balance on the card, and that means whoever applied for it hasn't, like, I don't know if it means they haven't been apparently they were approved or they wouldn't have got the card, but there's no funds on the card.
So you'll get the card before you get the funds. Now, I missed some of that because
I don't know how that works. So you get the card and then you get the funds later? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll get the card if you're approved for the unemployment that somebody applied for. You have to apply for it. You'll receive the card. And after you receive the card, then that's when your unemployment benefits will start, not long after you got your card. And that's usually how it goes. So I would definitely give them a call and find out why you got that card.
Yeah, I'm going to.
If you weren't approved, you wouldn't get the card. So that's the thing that's scary about that. What job did you have, not you, that you was able to collect unemployment from? So when
I haven't
my husband,
I haven't had one.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm self-employed.
That's what I'm saying. That's not a good thing. That means you had somebody is working somewhere in your name. Is what that means.
It could mean that, yeah.
And you got to get that fixed because once the IRS finds out you didn't file taxes on that, it doesn't matter if you worked there or not. They think you did.
Yeah, I'll figure that out. This happened to me once before from the state of Texas. Now, even though I live in Oklahoma, I've spent the majority of my life employed by a company in the state of Texas, or that was based in Texas. And this happened to me a few years ago where I got a letter from the state of Texas wanting some more information on my unemployment claim. And I called and I was like, hey, I don't have an unemployment claim in your state. And they made me go through this whole verify ID thing to verify my identity. I went through this whole process. It was pretty arduous, I think is the word. And once they verified my identity, that I was who I said I was, they were able to fix all of it. So that's probably what's going to happen here. But what had happened in Texas, so Texas is one of the worst states in the country for identity fraud, specifically to collect unemployment. Specifically to collect unemployment. Now, I have nothing on I have no identity fraud on my credit or anything else, right? Nobody's tried to apply for any credit in my name. But there's obviously, so I got to call the state.
Yes. You do. You have to call them and try to get that fixed, figure out what's going on. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what they do. They work a job in someone else's name for a certain amount of time, and then they collect unemployment from that job in that person's name. And Texas is big for that. Texas is very big for that.
Yeah, but most of those people are deceased.
Mhm.
But they got a live one here.
Yeah, exactly. And I know other live ones they got, but definitely they are known for that. And they're using your social security number is what they're doing.
I don't know. I'm gonna find out. And I think, fortunately, this was a very easy process for me in Texas. This wasn't like going through all the stuff, Jill, that y'all had to go through when your husband's identity was stolen. This was very easy.
Right.
It was literally one phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two phone calls, but it was done in a day.
Right,
And
right.
it was right. So this isn't like a full blown thing where it hasn't spread.
Right.
It's contained, and they really look for this type of activity in unemployment claims, and they have a lot of processes in place to squash it really quickly. So we'll see. I also have the identity theft stuff. What do they call it? Whatever. I have that.
Right.
What do they call that?
I can't remember. But I know what you're talking about.
If someone tries to get credit under me, I'm notified immediately.
You're notified immediately, yeah.
ID guard or
something like that.
I can't remember. I bought it when I buy it. It's part of my income tax thing. So
it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Because what we went through was complete hell. You don't want to go through that.
It's not LifeLock. It's just like LifeLock. I had LifeLock in the past, but this is something. This one is just like LifeLock, but it's a different product.
Yeah, there's different companies out there that do it.
Yeah.
Through your credit card, or like you can get it through your credit card. You can get it through your taxes, like
yes,
through the
it's
TurboTax.
It's ID Notify. That's what it is, Tim. Thank you.
Yes,
that's what I have. Yeah. I have ID Notify. Anyway, yeah, another day in the life, huh?
Yeah. At least you got it came to your house, because that's the thing. That's a good thing. Now you can figure that out. When it doesn't come to your home, when all the information, none of the shit comes to your home, you have no idea. You have no idea it's even happening.
And it went to my P.O. box, which I never check. So
that's even weirder.
It's been sitting in my P.O. box for quite some time. April the 4th. So almost a month it's been sitting there. And there's no money on the card. So, but that's because they never got... I assume you have to get the card.
You have to get the card and then...
activate it.
Activate it, yep.
And then do something else to get money on the card.
You have to fill out the form to get your first check and your second check and your third check.
Yeah.
And until you identify the card, I don't think that works.
Will Trump stop the export of gas to lower the prices to the American consumer? I don't believe so. I don't believe that they even have a clue that that's a thing they can do. I I personally, so if if I was the president right now, I wouldn't be doing anything with gas prices because I don't think they're high. But I would be pushing for price caps, not price caps, but export caps. If the prices reach a certain level, we automatically trigger export reductions until the prices come down. That I would have that implemented. But with a 318 average in the springtime, that's not bad.
So I don't think gas prices are high.
They're not.
I don't, even in my state, like, I mean, because we pay more tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think it's that high, especially with today's economy.
Yeah,
I
they're not
think it's
bad.
actually pretty decent.
And they were
I didn't think,
40 cents
go ahead.
higher a year ago.
Yeah,
This
they
time a
were
year
40
ago.
and I didn't even think they were high then. I look at it this way: you don't want gas prices going too low. That's a sign of something not good.
Well, and also, you know, California throws off the average now. 'Cause prices in California are so high, and there's so many people in California that they literally throw off the whole national average. If you took California out of the mix, it would probably be below $3 a gallon on a national average.
Yeah,
So, really, I mean, yeah, people are impacted, some in Pennsylvania,
yeah,
but
yeah. Pennsylvania's
not near as bad as California, where it's 470 or whatever.
right. I mean, 362 is not super cheap, but I'm not sitting here complaining because I know that that's our taxes.
Yeah, that's $1 more than I pay.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
It's a lot for taxes. I will complain about that.
That's right, Jules. They will pay $7 for a cup of coffee and scream at $3.50 for a gallon of highly combustible explosive fuels.
Kicked.
Shit.
No, I'm getting kicked. And I said it's getting ridiculous. Well, Bruiser, you can ask a question. Doesn't mean we have to answer it, right?
Heavy? Ask your question. Be prepared for me to
Uncomfortable
answer.
and maybe heavy. Yeah, be prepared for him to answer.
Oh, now I can't wait. Oh my God. Hi, Isabella.
Oh, we're sitting here waiting for this question.
Oh, yeah. I got my earbuds on. No pressure.
Scott said it's 289 on his side. Well, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not fair. Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia side, I believe that it's that price.
Yeah, there's only, 200 and something people waiting for your question, Bruiser?
Yeah. Everybody like the live. Let's get global to 5K. Because we've been here how long? 2 hours and we're only at 3.5. Get him to 10. Come on, let's do this. Get his TikTok to 10. Help boost our live.
What's
The question is there.
What's the threshold for you, or do you have a trigger of knowing you'll actually need to be arming and defending your home? Food will be scarce sooner than most people realize. Hunger is a driving force. What's the threshold for you to have a trigger of knowing you'll actually need to be arming? Well, my home is already armed. That's a yeah, that's a thing that's constant. But no, I haven't really thought about that. I don't think we're going to experience food shortages from everything I'm hearing. And I have those 6 chickens. And they're like this big. So, thank you, Bruiser. But I honestly, I was a little concerned during COVID of how bad it could possibly get. But I'm not. Now, you have to understand the reason I'm not actively concerned is because of where I live. And understand that I live in an area that probably has the lowest crime rate in the country. I live in an area where nobody locks their doors, where kids still run up and down the street and come home when the street lights come on. That's where I live. And people wonder why I live where I live. That's why I live where I live. I don't have to worry about anything where I live. Plus, my whole family's farmers, and if there was food shortages, it wouldn't impact me.
And I never thought about it. I'm not sure that now you got me thinking about it. Now I'm going to have to think about it.
Yeah. My family's good on food. But I don't think we're going to see any food shortages. That's not anything I've heard anywhere. I have 2 freezers full of beef in my house. Like, I have enough beef to, good Lord, get us to the rapture. Even though there's a lot of raptures happening, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a lot of raptures. We're even going to make another one up soon. We do make up raptures, yes. They're fun. And we get it out there, and then they believe it, and then we have our rapture day.
Yeah. I honestly don't think it'll get that bad. I don't think it'll get that bad.
I hope not. But I don't think so either. And I see what she's saying. Like, she's saying those who aren't middle class are going to be starving and they will be desperate. So what she's saying is not the food getting taken off the shelves, but the fact that these people are not going to be able to afford the food. And I see what she's saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right, Bruiser. I never thought of it, and I guess maybe I should.
Well, Bruiser, and not to be flippant about it, but this is the United States. And people being desperate and starving is not anything unusual in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality of the situation. This is the United States.
Yes.
People going hungry is literally a normal thing here. And I think, maybe people in other countries don't quite see that or realize that. That's absolutely part of the United States. Homeless, hunger, that's part of our culture.
Mm-hmm. But she's right, though. She makes sense. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That there are going to be people out there that are used to not being hungry and being hungry.
Yeah, but I just don't believe this will go that far, where we have mass I just don't think it will.
Right. I'm gonna tell you right now, if my snacks start going up, I'm gonna have to quit buying them, and then you're gonna have to send them to me because I will lose my shit.
Send me a list. Send me a list.
You got my list. You know everything I eat.
Really is, this was something that crossed my mind during COVID because we got to a point where it's like, okay, how bad is this actually going to get? Like, because it got pretty sketchy there for a while, with just massive job losses, but the government
Yeah.
sent out $600 checks.
Yeah, and they also they changed for SNAP programs, they changed income, and like people weren't getting income, they could get the SNAP, and they raised that. That's not going to happen this time.
No.
That's not going to happen this time. So it's definitely going to be different than COVID if it happens. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, it'll be different.
They had eviction moratoriums where people couldn't be evicted from their homes. They did a lot of things.
Right.
And I think that helped some. But a lot of those things also drove a lot of the inflation too,
Yeah. So during COVID, Bruiser, there was, I guess, a lot of shipping that wasn't happening as well because of the, people weren't working to do the shipping and stuff. So but it may be worse this time. And I think it would be if it happens again. Absolutely. Okay, are we still here?
Yeah, I'm reading.
Okay, I was like, it got quiet. What is going on? Did I get kicked? And I didn't.
We're so far from that. We're 10,000 miles away from that. We're a long way from that happening, is what I'm saying.
No, I agree to that. But I guess it could. Anything could happen, right?
Well, the thing is, I think we're wading into unknown, uncharted territory.
Yes.
Where we don't know what's going to happen, which is what makes it a lot like COVID. We didn't know what was coming next. We don't know what's coming next here. But the one thing that we have, unfortunately, is Donald Trump's obsession with his poll numbers.
Yes. Yes. What is his obsession with that?
And he will flip the switch on everything as soon as he can no longer handle his poll numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody has to like him. He's so perfect. Everybody loves me. No, nobody loves you. Well, I mean, other than your cult members, but that irritates me about him. Everything irritates me. What am I talking about? Everything he does irritates me. Like even his hands irritate me. The way he leans forward irritates me. Everything about him irritates me. So what am I talking about? That irritates me. Everything irritates me. Yes, narcissists can't handle rejection. So I'm not sure what Juice Lady's talking about. She's disappointed in one of our flipped response.
Flip it. Or flip it.
She's been complaining. Or wait, no, what's the word we're using now?
I don't know.
Trumper tantrums.
Supposedly.
Right, Christine? Yes.
I did not respond properly to Bruiser's doomsday scenario.
One of us didn't.
It's a reflection of how much fear exists in people right now, right?
That's what it is. It's the fear.
And what's driving that fear?
And you know what's driving that fear? A lot of
A
misinformation.
lot of misinformation, constant media absorption.
Mm-hmm.
People are
Yep.
trying to scare you. And I'm sorry that you're disappointed in my response, but someone has to be level headed.
Yeah, he keeps me level-headed.
you know.
I mean, you gotta have somebody that helps you look at both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying look at both sides.
No, I'm saying like
I'm
you
saying
understand that things are happening,
just look
but
at
at
what's
the same
actually
time, yeah,
happening, right? We've had no indication of food shortages. Nobody has said food shortages. They're talking about clothes and shoes and homeware and like the food shortages isn't anything that's been talked about by anybody. And I feel like if food shortages to the point where we have mass starvation in the country is something a lot of people would be sounding the alarm bells on, and that's not a thing that's
yes,
happening, right?
right, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Look at both sides. Like you know that things are happening, but you also know that that's what I meant by that. It's
Yeah.
not. And like Guinea said, panic helps nothing. She's right. It helps nothing. What does it help? Actually, it makes things worse. Panic makes things worse. Got to stay calm and deal with the situation.
It's true. It really is. Because we'll go from
For
panicking
anything.
about not having toys to buy for our kids for Christmas
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
suddenly thinking we're all going to starve to death. Um,
Yes.
but if this was a food situation, if this was something that was going to impact our food supply in the way the question was presented, then obviously my answer would have been different. But that's just not a thing.
Right.
So, lost my train of thought again. I had something I was going to talk about and I forgot about it again.
I don't know what she was going to talk about.
Well, no, I know you weren't trying to install panic. You were just asking a question. But
Oh yeah, we know that.
and it's just like the truck driver speaking English. Once all of the exemptions come out, the largest impact of that's going to be in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
That's where the big impact is going to be. The first 100
Yes.
days
I
have
agree.
have felt like 3 years. Um, yeah, It's certainly felt like more than 100 days, for sure.
It feels like thousands of days.
But the shipping industry is absolutely going to collapse. I mean, that's just, you know, it's already happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure things are just going to continue to get worse, Bruce, or they're not going to get better with him in there. That's for sure.
What is the motivation for putting ethanol in gasoline? I mean, it's not the stretch out to gasoline. So, a couple of things. It's I personally don't believe there's any evidence that ethanol reduces emissions. They say there is, but I haven't seen it. But it's basically a filler. It basically creates more supply of gasoline, is what it does. By, adding ethanol to gasoline, you increase the gasoline supply by 10%. Because it's an additive, it's a filler. I mean, the things, good or bad, that ethanol does, someone says removes water. That's true. But essentially, it creates more gasoline. That is the foundational purpose of it, is to keep supply higher by artificially adding an additive like ethanol. I think I put too much bacon. What?
How can you put too much bacon in anything?
Yeah, I've never read that in my life. I put too much bacon on it. That's a level of psychosis that I've never witnessed.
I mean, are you getting sick because you put so much bacon? Like, how much bacon did you put?
I want to say that's not a thing. It could just be bacon, and it would be perfect. Jill, every time I order pizza, I add bacon to it. It doesn't matter what kind of pizza I order. I add bacon to it.
Of course you do.
If I order a cheese pizza, I might put bacon on that. If I order a pepperoni pizza, I'm like, hey, put bacon on that.
Put bacon on that.
How much? Twice as much as whatever you're thinking.
That's like getting a Baconator from Wendy's and getting 2 pieces of bacon and saying that was definitely a Baconator and it was too much bacon.
Okay, now you've brought up a really sore subject.
I know. Well, really?
Yes.
I thought, yeah, sore subject for me too. All right, what's your sore subject?
There is nothing to support the notion that a Baconator is a Baconator. A Baconator is not a Baconator.
Well, what is it?
It's a bacon cheeseburger.
It's just a burger.
It doesn't have that much bacon on it.
Exactly. That's the sore subject I have.
Yeah. And the few times I've had Baconators, I've asked them, is this going to be a Baconator or is this going to be a bacon cheeseburger?
Yes. So I just order a bacon cheeseburger if I get from there, because you get the same amount of bacon, but you pay less. But I don't really like their burgers anyway because they're square, and it's just not normal.
Oh my God. It's extra food.
You know this. We've talked about this before.
It's extra meat. Every corner is extra. Why you gotta be
I have to
extra?
bite the corners off. Because it's not round. Okay, I'm just, it's kind of like a square pizza.
When the Baconator came out, I went to Wendy's and I was disappointed. Because it's no different than any other bacon cheeseburger. Except they just don't put like vegetables on it.
Right.
I think you need at least 6 pieces of bacon to justify the Baconator label.
Jules, no, not square donuts. Oh my, I can't with that too. I can't either. Square burger, square pizza, square donuts. Why?
Why aren't people just extremely upset about the scam that is donuts? You take a donut. How much is a donut, Jill? $1?
No, they're more than that now.
They say dollars to donuts all the time.
Yeah, that's not what it is.
Well, just for the sake of the conversation, let's say it's $1. You have a donut that's $1. Okay. You knock a hole in it.
I love you, Bruiser.
You knock a hole in it. And you take that piece out and you charge another $1 for that, and you're still charging $1 for the donut. So the donut hole is now $1 and the donut is $1. You're paying $2 for what used to be $1. You see what I'm saying? Put the donut holes back in the donut. Jill.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If you make them at home, you're getting both.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
There's a restaurant in Michigan, and no matter what you order, there will be a pound of bacon, Reuben bacon, and eggs and pancakes. Oh my God. A donut in Vegas is $5. Oh my God.
Wow. I gotta see what that dog is doing.
That's right, Star. I want whole donuts with a W.
She's being good. She's just walking around. I had to go see what she was doing because it sounded like she was getting into something. If she has an issue with that, she's not. Yes, I've heard of a donut smash burger. I've never tried one, but I've heard of it.
I've heard of that too. I haven't tried it. But when I make bacon cheeseburgers at home, I make my buns out of grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. A smashed grilled cheese sandwich.
Yes, Amanda. Jelly donuts are whole.
And you save a lot of money on toilet paper when you do that.
Oh my God.
What? You do.
That is if you're not lactose intolerant, I would assume.
It is delicious. The grilled cheese bacon cheeseburger. And I think, see, I've been doing that since I was a kid, but for a while, Hardee's did that. Hardee's made one of those, a grilled cheese bacon cheeseburger. That's not a random poop joke. That is a lack of poop joke. That is less poop than a normal joke.
It's a full of shit joke.
Right. And it frees up, more time. You have more time to do other things, other activities, because you're not in the bathroom. Just saying.
Oh.
It's definitely storm season at my house.
Yes,
Holy cow.
here as well. We had up to like I think it was 90-mile-an-hour straight winds the
You
other
had
day.
you had what?
90-mile-an-hour straight winds. What?
You had spaghetti?
No, I didn't say I had spaghetti.
Oh.
You heard what I said.
What's
So
90?
our
You said 90 marinara.
no, I didn't. I said 90 mile an hour. I didn't say marinara.
Oh, you're the best.
So yeah, I know.
We had large
So
hail. We didn't have the marinara, but we had large hail. Large hail.
it's not the marinara. Well, the marinara took some of my siding off my house. Now my husband has to go up there and fix it.
Oh, did it? Is it gone, or did it just peel it away?
No,
And it's
it's
hanging
like
there.
he has to go up and fix it. Yeah.
We didn't get that. Yeah, 90 marinaras is a lot, Pete. We didn't get
It is a lot.
winds that extreme, and we didn't get it at my house. But there was some hail around here, some gorilla hail. I don't know if you've dealt with gorilla hail yet, Jill, but we had some.
Okay, I don't know if I've dealt with the gorilla hell either.
Gorilla hail is anything larger than a softball.
Okay, no, I haven't.
Yeah, we're talking. So there was some gorilla hail, but fortunately, it didn't hit my house. Gorilla hail destroys everything.
Oh yeah, I could imagine.
It doesn't just destroy your roof; it destroys your house.
Yeah.
There is no roof unless you want 150 skylights in your roof, because it will literally go through your entire roof, where you're looking at daylight. Totals out cars. Yeah, we get some gorilla hail here.
So the winds weren't like we actually got pretty lucky. I mean, they were bad, right? We got pretty lucky though, because it was worse in a lot of the other areas just surrounding us, like really close to us up the road, things like that. So for just some of the siding to come off, that isn't too bad. We didn't get hit as hard as the 90, marinara. We probably had like 70 marinara.
The first time you said it, Jill, it sounded like marinara. Just the first time, not the second, third, fourth, or fifth time.
Okay.
But I think, what day is it? I think we have one more day of storms this week, but next week, like all week, is going to be storms.
So, still worker, I gave you a 10-second timeout. Not very much, but I'm tired of you being rude to people, bragging and pretending like, whatever. Because there are people out there that are actually suffering, and you're like making fun of that, bragging that you have things you probably don't even have, kind of like Trump does. So I gave you a 10-second timeout. Enjoy that and stop it.
Drama. There's going to be a cat
Oh,
fight.
it was hateful. No, it was hateful. It was hateful.
I didn't see it.
It was hateful. Quite a few of them were hateful.
Brett says, I wish we had FEMA. You know, we're about to find out. We're about to find out how important FEMA is.
Yes, we are. We are.
Oh, my dog.
Oh, you didn't think it was long enough? Alrighty, that's fine by me. 5 minutes it is.
Yeah, storm season around here is one of those things that I wouldn't call it fun. When I was younger, you know, we'd chase. Of course, everyone here chases storms, but um, yeah, now that I have stuff, it's not as fun. Do any other homeowners freak out because there's a bad storm? No, I think all homeowners freak out when there's a bad storm. Like the largest investment people make in their life is their home.
Yes. Yes, I freak out.
So, um, I will admit that I enjoy storms more when they're not coming towards me.
Absolutely.
Because if you've spent much time in Oklahoma, you're basically a weatherman or woman. You just are. We've watched so much weather our lives that we are literally trained weathermen. I can look at a storm and tell you what it's going to do.
My son should have been from Oklahoma because that's exactly what he is.
The Senate is going to vote to undo Liberation Day tariffs and send it to die in the House, says Apollo.
That's probably what. Well, it will die in the house if it. Yeah.
Yeah. When I spent a lot of time in Texas, these storms would be, you know, it'd be storm season. I remember one day I walked into an office and there's like 10 people in this office. It's like a conference room looking at this huge TV, looking at this radar, and they were all freaking out. They thought a tornado was coming. And I walked in and I'm like, what's the matter? And they're like, we're under a tornado watch. You know, and I stood there a minute and I looked at the radar and they pulled up the wind shear. I was like, there's not going to be a tornado. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, you have nothing to worry about. This tornado watch doesn't really mean much, you know.
Oh my God.
Well, these people aren't from Oklahoma, right? So I explained to them how there wasn't enough wind shear present in the atmosphere to generate a tornado, you know. And, you know, the inflow boundary was weak and all that. You know, I'm just explaining all this to them, and they're looking at me like, how the fuck do you know this, you know? I'm like, I'm from Oklahoma, dude. What do you mean, how do I know this? It's my business to know this. I would just tell people, you know, be concerned when I get concerned. Because when I get concerned, holy shit.
Right.
Because the weatherman, at least in Oklahoma, and definitely Texas, they'll scare you a little bit to keep you watching the weather. They're no different than any other media outlet. They'll have the weatherman on TV all day, broadcasting live because all this dangerous weather's coming, you know.
Yeah.
It's to keep you watching. It really is. Are you born with that knowledge? I wasn't born with it. It's just 45 years of watching the weather every spring.
Yeah. And if you watch the weather and you learn about the weather, then you can, yeah,
You
you're
pick up
pretty
on
good
it.
at it. Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of things you don't know about what's happening in the atmosphere, but you pick up on like the main 5 or 6 things that you need to look at to determine if it's as bad as it, right? There's a few
Hmm.
indicators, and once you learn those indicators, you pretty much know what you need to know. And people in Oklahoma are like animals, you know. You can get up in the
Hmm.
morning and walk outside, and you know if something's going to come that afternoon. You just know. It's in your senses, right? You just like animals have senses. People have those too. The air is really super thick and humid.
Yeah.
You can feel it. You can smell it. You're like, fuck, something's coming today. But people make fun of us because we stand on our porches and watch it come in, right?
Right.
That's because we know what we're looking at. Now, my mother,
So,
she will run to the cellar if it sprinkles. But she's also been physically in a tornado when it hit her house. So, she has some. She's extremely cautious. She's a little overcautious, but she's cautious.
so Bruiser isn't here to listen to the chat, to listen to the live. She's here to write in the chat
Oh, really?
because, yeah, she said, "Am I out yet? What did I do?" Now, did I not explain what she did?
You mean still work?
Yeah,
You
still
said
work.
bruiser.
What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry, Bruiser. I'm so sorry. I was looking at your name when I was reading that. But still work. Yeah, she says, Am I out yet? What did I do?" Did I not explain what she did?
You did.
Okay. So she's just here to write in the chat to to put people down basically, and to say, "Oh, Disney this," and I $400 is what, as if people aren't suffering, as we're talking about, things that people suffer from. She's in there, she's in the chat, bragging up this money that she um, probably doesn't even have. And she knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. Or do you hear it now? Still work? Do you hear it now? All right, I'm done with you. Say it again. Say something again. Okay, let's move on.
So Brett says probably around 50% of the tornado warnings which are issued are only issued because someone called it in to the local National Weather Service office. Spotters are very important. Spotters are the biggest lifesavers, definitely in Oklahoma. The people that go out and watch these storms and report back to the news. And we've lost. We've lost some storm chasers in Oklahoma over the years. People gave their lives to warn people about the weather that was coming.
Yes.
It's a very I wouldn't say it's a thankless job, but I guess you could say it's a thankless job. But a lot of people don't quite understand how important those people are volunteering. 99% of them are volunteering. Every news station has some paid storm chasers and spotters, but the vast majority of those people doing it are they're like volunteer firemen or whatever. They're out there on their own time, on their own dime, um, doing what they do.
Yeah, they are.
And a lot of them have invested serious money into the equipment that they carry with them. Some of those people are given grants and stuff, but not a lot of them.
They do a dangerous thing just to keep us safe.
The Doppler radars go out at an angle, so when you're far away, you have to account for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But, the technology in the radars has just gotten immensely better in my lifetime. It's crazy, the things radars can pick up now. But that range is still very important when you're looking at something 150 miles away from a radar.
Ah, you got a new follower
Hmm?
in TikTok.
I did.
He says, "Hello, sir. I'm from Canada and recently come across your TikTok account. You're an awesome follow."
Thank you, Lakeside. Why did I just get a notification about something Jill did? Oh my God. What did you do now?
Yeah, it's still work. Look at her in the comments.
No, I'm talking about on Facebook.
Oh, what did I do on there?
Sometimes I get these notifications very late. It's some old stuff.
That maybe still work was messaging you.
No,
Crying.
it was a Facebook notification.
Still work is having a Trumper tantrum.
Is she having a Trumper tantrum? By the way,
She is.
for everyone listening, Trumper tantrum is the new word.
Mm-hmm.
A Trumper having a tantrum is a Trumper tantrum. And I haven't used that word in a piece of content yet. I'm going to try to do that today.
Yes, get it done. She wants to know if you're going to let me treat a follower like that.
Like what?
Like I muted her and told her about the way she was acting.
That's her job. Yes. Not the word of the day, Bruiser. That's the word for the next 3 years and 8 months or whatever.
Yes. Yes, a Trumper tantrum.
I think Wilson's having a Trumper tantrum.
I think Wilson is too. What is going on with Wilson?
He's probably out there barking at those chickens that he can't get to.
Oh, I bet you he is. I bet you he is.
What a dipshit.
So the Trumper tantrum came from a friend of ours. She's pretty funny, but she said it and we both knew that was the word we were using.
Yeah. Might need a Trumper tantrum t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like a little,
little
little picture with Donald Trump crying, like a cartoon Trump crying with Trumper tantrum on it.
Yes.
Maybe with a pacifier in his mouth. Who was that? Was that Bootsy?
Yes, it was. It was Bootsy.
petty. Yeah. Because FJB wasn't petty. Calling people libtards wasn't petty. All of the names and sayings that the Republicans have come up with to disparage people they disagree with.
Right. And then they cry that they have a Trumper tantrum when we do it back to them. Right. Oh, that's so mean. It's not mean. It's fucking funny.
Hi, Denbo and Denbo. Thank you. Consumer protection and civil rights attorney. There you go. Right there.
Oh, that's cool.
The I've Had It podcast on YouTube is from Oklahoma. Yes, it is. They're from Oklahoma City, and I am actively trying to get on that podcast. I don't think I'm big enough to get on there, but I'm trying.
So you'll get on there.
Thank you, Big D. That podcast is really blown up. Yes, Mary, we talked about the tattoo fiasco on the interview last night earlier. But it was funny. You know, why can't you just say what I want you to say is basically what Donald Trump was saying. Why can't you just say what I want you to say? Not that I haven't had people say that to me before as well. Why can't you just say what I want you to say? Oh, man. Yeah, the I've Had It podcast, they basically start by saying, I've had it with. And then they say what they've had it with. I've had it with couples at the gym. Not me personally, I don't go to the gym, but that's something they talked about. Thank you for the gifts.
Look at this. She only got 20 corn.
Huh? Thank you, Sarah
She only sent you
Jacqueline.
20 corn. We got to 12K. Let's get to 15 before we shut down.
Mr. Global, do you think Amazon and others' bills should show tariff amount like other taxes on the bill? I do. I do think people should see what they're paying for. Yes. Yes. The price of it's on there. The tax of the item is on there. Everything else is on there. Why would you leave a tax off and just... And here's the thing. How are you justifying your price to the consumer if you're not showing them why they're paying what they're paying, right? They could literally put any price on there. It's $300. Why? Because that's what it is. I can't tell you why. It's $300 because I said so.
Because you said so.
And some Republicans, the Lutnick guy, he came out and thought it was actually a good idea to have that on there. Not for the right reasons, but like he literally believes people will see that and think the company's still paying it, even though they are actively paying for it themselves in that very moment. And he also thought that it would encourage people to buy American by seeing what the tariff is. I don't know that seeing the price of the tariff will encourage them to buy American. I think seeing the price of the price is what will encourage them to buy American. But what if there's not an American alternative? And that's the case in many cases, is there's not an alternative, right?
Right. There's not an alternative. So the people who can't afford to buy made in the USA products are not going to be able to buy none. That's the thing. If they already can't afford to buy made in the USA, and then the China made product is more than the made in the USA, they're not going to buy any. What is Wilson barking at?
Maybe he's barking at me.
Maybe
he hears me in here talking.
I was going to say that.
Do you think there will be a black market for items from China? I'm sure there probably will be.
Yeah, most likely.
I don't know how they get here, but I'm not letting him in. He's muddy.
Exactly, Juju. Exactly. Made in the USA still requires buying parts from outside the US. And that means made in the USA is already too expensive for a lot of people to buy, and the price is about to go up to even more money. And then the price of stuff made in China will go up. Nobody's going to be able to buy anything. There are people out there who are not going to be able to buy anything.
All right, let's wrap it up, Jill.
All right, let's do that.
Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us today.